Alright, so this is Unit 6, properties of exponents, and we'll probably go through several of the properties together, so you can pause this video anytime while you're listening to it as you work from one thing to the other one. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is the product of a power. So you want to always simplify your work as much as possible, and you should only have positive exponents. So in the first problem there, you have x times x to the fourth. Now you're going to notice if you were to write this all out, so this is the actual problem, but if you were to write it all out, it would be x times, and you have 4 x's. Okay, so you can see you have a total of 5 x's, so it would be x to the fifth. And you'll notice what you could do is you could have just added the exponents and you would have gotten x to the fifth. You look at number 2. Now the coefficients, so the 2, that large number is your coefficient. That's going to stay the same, or they're just going to be multiplied by each other. So 2 is still going to stay there, and then remember you can just add up your exponents, so it would be a to the fifth. Number 3, here you have several coefficients, so you have 3x cubed times 3x cubed times 4x. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 4 is going to give you 36. Then you want to add up your exponents. You have 3, and you have one more, so it'll be 36x to the 7th. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's any ones in particular that you might need some help with. When you get down to number 7, this one's going to be a little bit different because it is 2a squared b to the third times 4ba to the third. So what's happening here is you're going to notice that you can multiply your coefficients. 2 times 4 is 8. And then it'd be a to the, you have 2 plus 3, so a to the fifth, and it'd be b to the fourth, because you have 3 plus 1 more. Okay, so you have 2 different variables. You're going to notice in number 8, again, you have 2 different variables, so you'd have 4x times 4y to the fourth. 4 times 4 is 16, x, and then y to the fourth. You can keep the variables separate. So that should take care of the power of a powder. While we're working on this, let's go ahead and talk about quotient of a power. So here you have division going on with the same base. So for example, number 1, so you have 2 over 2 and then a to the fourth over a to the fourth. Now what's kind of interesting is the 2's could get crossed out, a to the fourth could get crossed out because it's the same thing divided by the same thing, so it's just going to be left with 1. Number 2, you have 2x to the fourth over 3x cubed. Now, if you were to write this all out, it'd be 2, and you'd have 4 x's on top, and then 3, and you'd have 3 x's on the bottom. And you would notice, hopefully, the fact that you'd have pairs of x's being crossed out, so your final answer would end up equaling the 2/3 would still stay the same. You'd just be left with 1 x in the numerator. Okay, notice instead of adding the exponents, you could have subtracted them. 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, x to the first. Let's look at another one. Number 3 is actually pretty straightforward. You have n to the fourth over n to the fourth. If you subtract them, you get n to the 0, or you can see they just would have gotten crossed out. What's interesting is you actually kind of discover another property here. Something raised to the 0 power is just always going to be 1. Alright, see if I can find one that's a little bit more difficult. If you go down to number 8, oops, so you look at number 8 there, you're going to have 4n over n cubed. Now this one's a little bit different because there's only one n in the numerator, but you have 3 n's in the denominator. So what's going to happen here is you could cross off one pair of n's, and you'd be left with 4 over n squared. So it might be easiest to actually write them out every time to make sure you're getting the hang of what's going on. If you jump down to number 13 with me, here's where you're dealing with 2 variables. So you have 2m squared n to the second over 3n m to the third. So it actually might be easier for you to write this all out. What's going to happen is you have 2, then m times m, and then n times n, over 3n, and then m times m times m. Okay, you can see that you have a pair of m's you could cross out. and you also have a pair of n's you can cross out, so your final answer would be 2n over 3m. Okay, so again, it might be easier to write it out to kind of see what's happening. Let me know if you have any questions. I think the next page actually might just also include with the work here. So 0 exponents, if you look at, let's see, quotient of power. So if we deal with 0 exponents, a couple ones, basically anything raised to the 0 power always equals 1. We kind of saw that property previously. So if we said 2 to the x 0 times 3x to the 4th, multiply your coefficients, so 2 times 3 is 6, and then 0 plus 4, it's just going to be 4. You know the x to the 0 is just 1, so that would be our answer. See if there's one a little bit more challenging. Really, anything raised to the 0 power is just 1. So it's just the coefficient, the whole number, the integer value 1. Do a couple more just in case you want to see. So like number 2 would be 3r to the 0 times r cubed. 3 stays as the coefficient, and you just have 3 r's. Okay, number 3, same idea. 4r to the 0 times 2v, excuse me, both v's. 2 times 4 is 8, and you just have v to the first power, so 8v. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions.